supports better than any team or any player he's had in a long time on defense. He really helps out his teammates.
He's one of those guys that you can kind of build your defense around because he gives such good help. You see him right there dropping in, putting pressure on Gill.
Very quick. Outside shot missing. Marcus Liberty can't find the mark, and Indiana the 5-2 lead. Pat Graham, he's a deadly shooter. Indiana with their 22nd different starting lineup today. They have really moved people around, going without Eric Anderson for the first time in the starting lineup.
You know, Gary, both of these teams are kind of small. And you look out there, they don't really miss Anderson that much because Illinois lacks the height also.
Neither team really that physical. They've all had difficulties with big, strong teams. Cheney tries to take it inside, reloads and gets it.
Illinois cannot give him that baseline all afternoon, and he's driven it about 3 times.
And Gill is charging into Indiana. Kendall Gill called for charging. Cheney taking the charge.
The spin move caused these fouling right there because he didn't locate the defensive man off of the spin.
And so Indiana's off, moving effectively. They lead it by 5. SEC championship, not who they expected, Alabama and Mississippi.
Unbelievable, Gary, but the SEC has been that way all season. There just hasn't been that clear-cut dominant team in the conference. Hugh Durham has done a great job winning the round-robin tournament with Georgia.
I tell you, Joe, it's been that way everywhere. It's hard to predict what's going to happen in this month of madness, March, as they get into the tournament trail. 7-2 as we come back. 3 team fouls on Indiana, 1 on Illinois. Cheney overshoots it, and Bardo with the rebound.
Cheney driving against the zone right there, and he got in and got the good shot. But Illinois had switched to a 2-3 zone that time down the floor. You won't see Indiana switching to a zone.
Well, he has played his zone, but very, very infrequently. He being Bob Knight. And it comes now to Bardo. Bardo takes his man inside. Has that height advantage. He used it very well there.
Well, he banked that one off of the front of the rim, Gary. Good shot.
7-4 now as Illinois trailing by 3. This Indiana team needing a win. They'd like to get in the NCAA tournament field for the 10th time in 11 years. This is a ball club that's been so young. It's been a roller coaster season for them. They started out 10-0.
Well, you can look out here, Gary, and tell that they're definitely one of the best 64 best teams in the country.
A lot of people feel 7 teams from the Big Ten should be in that 64-team field.
Well, Ohio State's had some big wins over some good teams.
3 by Cheney, rattles out. Rebound by Liberty. Liberty averaging almost 7 rebounds a game. He has come on this year after getting the rust off his game a year ago. Bardo takes it in. Mulder's got inside position, and he's fouled from behind by Small. He tries to reach around.
That was a tough situation for Small. He had the ball up over his head, but when the ball came down, he found himself over the back.
Lou Henson wanted a jump ball, but it didn't go that way, and Small commits his 2nd foul. Here is the reaction of Bob Knight when Cheney tried that 3-pointer.
Well, Cheney is an excellent 3-point shooter, shooting 54.5. And against the zone, they're going to have to take that shot.
Guy that can do it is Pat Graham. He's shooting 48% from 3-point land.
Number 33, Pat Graham. He's got 2 threes on his jersey.
The skip pass against the zone. Meeks from outside, and the rebound effectively by Small. Small playing with big heart. Here's Bardo. He's averaging over 5 assists a game.
A double stack by Illinois. That's the way they get Gill loose off of the screens.
Here's Kaufman, who's checked into the game. Played so well the last time. 21 points in 19 minutes of play against Iowa.
Illinois can afford to play that big lineup while they're in the zone.
They cannot allow Gill on a kick-out pass like that to get open. He has 5 of the 7 points, and it's tied up at 7. Cheney, wide open.
Boy, what a nice ball touch.
He is something special. He, along with Jim Jackson, as freshman this year in the Big Ten, have really created a following. 4 points for Cheney.
You just don't see a freshman that can put the ball on the floor as effectively as he can.
Gill traveled with it as he tried to duck inside. We're going to have a change now for Illinois. Coming into the ball game will be Rodney Jones. He's the junior out of Philadelphia by way of New Mexico Junior College. Small, who has 2 fouls, will sit down. 13:08 to go now in this first half. Indiana by 2. It's still Meeks, Reynolds, Cheney, Nova, and Graham. And they played the entire second half Thursday night against Ohio State. One of the few times Bob Knight did not substitute. They tried to duck into those gaps against the zone. They were working on that yesterday. Try to take it down the gap area and create something inside. Cheney from 3. He missed there earlier. Liberty with the rebound. You can see that Bob Knight has given his freshman Cheney the green light whenever he wants it. And there's Nova committing a foul.
Well, there have been some very special players down through the years that Bob Knight has given the green light to. One of the first I can remember was Isaiah Thomas, and he could take it inline to inline.
How about Randy Whitman? He let him put it up from outside,
well,
too.
They were great shooters, and go on back to Steve Green and Scott May and Ted Kitchell.
Shot missing now by Liberty as Gill tries to follow and won't go in. And Cheney chases it down. Good hustle. Off to Pat Graham. Graham will take it in. Stripped beautifully that time by Marcus Liberty. And intercepted by Reynolds. Back it comes to Jamal Meeks. To Graham. Graham double pumps. He got it and he's fouled.
What I can't get over, Gary, is that Pat Graham is just a freshman. And he made a big-time move right there with that fake. An ill-advised pass right here by Kaufman. Picked off and quickly passed up court to Meeks. Meeks through the defense, and a good fake by Pat Graham.
Pat Graham, an excellent free throw shooter, 83% for the year. In fact, now he's hit his last 24 free throws in a row. Pat Graham makes it a 12-7 lead for Indiana.
I think he's going to be a real outstanding star for Indiana in the future.
Boy, this Indiana team, they should be something, a handful the next 3 years. Kendall Gill not hitting, and Graham goes high for the rebound. Graham at 6'5", out of Floyd's Knob, Indiana. Here's Cheney, who played at Evansville last year. Indiana's been a slow-starting team this year. And that was a great concern to Bob Knight coming in, but they're off the mark effectively here this afternoon. They've had big leads that they've had to come from behind. And here is Meeks, makes it 14-7. His first 2.
Boy, is that a bad sign for Lou Henson to see his team stand and let a guy come right down the middle against his zone for a layup.
Marcus Liberty taking Cheney inside, and Cheney has committed the foul. Cheney with his first personal foul. Liberty will go to the line.
Lou needs to wake his players up as they've just kind of dropped back into a sedentary attitude here defensively.
You wonder a week off how it affects your ball club too. The last game was a week ago against Iowa in Champaign.
Well, it can affect you 2 different ways. Your players can be anxious to play. They can have live legs. You've got time to prepare. You've got time to give them a little rest. But then they can be a little over anxious. And to go on the road is always tough, Gary.
And Liberty gets his first point of the afternoon. It's 14-9 in favor of Indiana. 11 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the first half. Dick Van Arsdale led Indiana. They had nearly identical career numbers of 17 points and 10 rebounds per game. The dynamic duo went on to play in the NBA, and they now are real estate developers in Phoenix, Arizona. And there's the mother of the Van Arsdales, Hillary. What a delightful lady. Her late husband was an outstanding sports enthusiast, and you know how they impacted Indiana basketball, and she never misses a game.
Well, they were great players to watch, Gary, and it was really hard to tell them apart, I'll tell you that.
Well, I live in Phoenix, and I have to have them together, or I can't tell them apart. Here is Chris Reynolds driving, missing the shot. Again, they're taking it inside very well.
Illinois is just not reacting to the penetration on that baseline.
There's a reach in by Cheney, and he's committed his second foul. Next Saturday on Wide World of Sports, we'll head to Alaska for coverage of coverage. Jack Aruta's usually with us on these games up in Alaska in that unbelievable weather, 60 below at times. Here's Andy Kaufman for three from outside. Cheney with a rebound.
Indiana doing a good job on the defensive board.
And that's going to be a foul on Kaufman. Indiana taking the ball inside, as you can see by this.
Well, you wouldn't expect that, and it's their guards that are driving that ball in there and getting the shot. Illinois has got to toughen up in the paint.
One thing about this Indiana team, when they shoot well, they are tough. When they shoot over 50%, they are 14-2 for the year. And right now, getting that ball inside will certainly enhance that shooting statistic.
Well, you know they're a good outside shooting team. They're shooting 44.4 from the three-point range, and they've got plenty of guys that can do it.
Chris Reynolds will back it out. Indiana still has not made any changes in their lineup. Very unusual for this young team, but it started against Ohio State. There's the reach in, and Kendall Gill breaks it out to Liberty, and broken up by Pat Graham. It's off of Graham.
Illinois were backing their man-to-man, and Indiana tried to run a pick and roll, get the ball back to the screener, and good team defense prevented that.
Kendall Gill, reasonably quiet in this game, has 5 points. Remember, he needs 22 to become the Big Ten scoring champion. Move by Liberty on the baseline. Another foul is drawn. Going to be on Nover. That's his second personal.
Illinois is really pushing everything to the basket, but they're not getting a real good clean shot. I look for Bardo to step outside there and hit some three-pointers. He's a 50% shooter from outside.
I think what's happened here, Joe, is Indiana consciously wanted to get started well. That's been a real plague all year long, and Illinois hasn't really gotten a wake-up call in some ways.
They definitely haven't defensively, and they've forced some shots offensively, haven't controlled the boards, and those are things they're going to have to do.
So it's now 14-11 Indiana. Just about 10 minutes left now in this first half. The home of the Hoosiers. Bob Knight's team has won 3 NCAA championships, 5 total. In fact, they're going to recognize the team that won it in 1940 at halftime. Cheney missing. Rebound by Bowman. And reaching in is Reynolds. Look at the hustle by Indiana.
Now Reynolds is right after that ball. If it goes on the floor, he's going to have a hand on it.
They go inside, and it's going to get away from Jones. He tries to save it. Still no whistle, and finally a held ball to be Indiana's ball. Boy, it took a long time to determine that that was a held ball.
Well, you wonder when they're going to call a 3-second violation in that situation.
I tell you, John Makovic for Illinois and Bill Mallory of Indiana ought to search those guys out. They look like they could play.
Well, they were going after the loose ball. There's no question about that. I don't want to be in one of those pileups.
That's fighting for your life. The alternating hell ball that goes to Indiana.
This is that kind of game. You can tell that, Gary. Well, these teams are going to scrap for every possession.
14-11 now. The Hoosiers. 9:26 left in the first half, and there's another travel. And they were working on Graham. They want him to quit shuffling the feet, take a positive move to the basket, so they think the shot's there because he gets that explosive first step. He could do something. But then he traveled with it.
That's just being a little over-anxious. It takes some work. A lot of young players on the floor here.
Nice pass to Gill. Bardo, you can see why he leads his team in assists. That was a beautiful pass.
And what live legs Gill has. He exploded to that basket off of one step.
1-point game. Gill with 7 points for the afternoon.
Bardo guarding Cheney. Bardo, one of the best defensive players in the Big Ten.
Graham tries one. Nover tried to keep it alive. And again, Illinois doing a good job on the defensive boards. Remember now, they out-rebounded Indiana in the first meeting by 14. DJ Bowman. And that is going to be a three-pointer. Make that a two-pointer. 15-14.
Bowman can shoot it outside. He's 36.8 from three-point range. He's not afraid to put it up.
He had been really struggling with his shooting, and the Illinois bench erupted when he hit that, thinking it'll help his confidence. Here's Graham, turn around. They left him loose, but he missed an easy one, and that'll be off of Indiana.
Indiana's just been so effective driving that baseline. They're breaking down the Illinois defense and causing people to step in and help and leave people open, especially on the board.
First substitution for Indiana. Greg Graham, yet another freshman, comes in for Pat Graham. Graham missed that one outside, so Bob pulls him out, rests him up a little bit. And Greg Graham, yet another outstanding first-year player who played his high school ball at Warren Central in Indianapolis, comes in.
They'll be watching if he goes to the free throw line to see if he keeps that string going.
Also, Eric Anderson's getting ready to come in. And We talked about his injury, his severe sprain to the right ankle. Be interested to see how he'll be able to play. And inside, a reach-around foul. And if that is on Cheney, and it is, it's his third.
Well, Liberty had 2 men on him as soon as he touched that ball. As Indiana's really collapsing inside.
Here comes Anderson. Now you can see he has that air cast on his right ankle. He is also wearing a larger shoe. He had to get 1 size larger to accommodate the air cast. We'll be back. Timeout. Illinois by 1.
Indiana frees their low post man with a screen right here on the cutter, and then the postman posts up for the pass from the point. The defensive man here on the wing should have been dropped back in to give more help, but he was playing more pressure defense out on the wing.
Coming back the other end, Kendall Gill misses a 15-footer from front of the basket. Illinois by 1, 15-14, 7:47 left the first half. Here's Anderson playing with that gimpy right ankle. Greg Graham had it rejected, and I mean rejected, by Rodney Jones. You wonder Anderson's lateral mobility with that ankle. Long shot by Bardo, does not find the mark, and Anderson with the rebound. Also in the game is Mark Robinson coming in for Cheney, who picked up his 3rd foul. Kendall Gill at the other end. Up-tempo right now for Illinois. Marcus Liberty against Robinson, and look at Meeks get up to the rebound.
Well, both teams are really pushing it up the floor, Gary, and I think his tempo favors Illinois.
Mark Robinson to the ball, making his final appearance. He's one of 2 seniors on this Indiana team. Played at San Francisco City College with Dean Garrett. Anderson, and that'll help the ankle. That will make you forget about an ankle in a hurry.
Well, Bobby Knight thinks that Eric Anderson has the ability to become one of his greatest outside shooters.
He is concerned about some of his work ethic at times. He says he could be as good as he wants to be, and Anderson last year, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. A lot of pushing and shoving between Jones and Anderson, and Jones is called for the foul by Ted Hillary. And Lou Henson saying, wait a minute, we're on the road, but this is ridiculous.
Boy, I tell you, Gary, that pushing and shoving went on for a long time right there in that series. Without it being called, the referee finally decided to clean it up. I don't know how he could have isolated that call on one.
I don't either. How do you call it on one and not the other? But it goes against Jones and also puts Indiana in the 1-and-1, 7-team foul against Illinois. And Anderson, a good free throw shooter, as is this team at the line. Doesn't get it. And Jones rips it down. Jones is upset. He's still upset about the foul.
Well, he went up over the rim to get that missed free throw.
16-15, 6:25 left to go in this first half. Kendall Gill with Meeks in his face, and Gill not shooting the way we've seen him shoot, as opposed to a week ago when he had 25 points against Iowa.
He was undecided. Looked like he didn't know whether to bank that one or go straight.
Greg Graham takes it in, and he's called for charging. Graham ducking inside, collides with Liberty, and Graham commits his first personal foul.
Indiana's still trying to use that quickness, put the ball on the floor, penetrate to the basket, draw the defense, kick it off to the open man.
Andy Kaufman comes back in now for Illinois. Bowman will sit down. 6:05 to go in the first half.
Illinois keeps changing that lineup, going with a bigger team occasionally. Be interesting to see if they stay in the man-to-man with this bigger lineup.
Again, Jones and Anderson kind of shoving and pushing inside. That's something to watch each time they come down the floor. Bardo trying to take Greg Graham inside. He did. He got the basket, and he's fouled, and Graham commits the foul.
Well, Bardo has a great height advantage when he takes the ball to the basket. It's not all that great, but 3 inches means a lot when you take it into the basket. There's a look at it right there. A good use of his left hand. Draws the foul, gets a chance for the three-pointer.
Bardo at 6'6", Gill at 6'5". You really have matchup problems when those guys go outside, and Graham giving away that height commits the foul, and now Bardo with 5 points. It's a 2-point lead for Illinois.
Illinois has dropped back in that 2-3 zone with their bigger lineup. Indiana's capable of shooting outside against this zone. Got their senior Mark Robinson in the game, a little more experience. Gives them a little more strength inside on the board.
Anderson, who did not work out yesterday, all he was on a stationary bike trying to work inside, get open. They might have to get Pat Graham back in here to get some of that outside shooting. Nice pass to Reynolds, reverses inside, blocked by Liberty. Out to Gill. Look at that move by Kendall Gill. That was something special.
Hey, girl. That's the move of the day right there.
Oh, 9 points.
He didn't have time to think about that when he took that ball behind his back. He caught it and went right to the behind-the-back dribble.
He'll be a lottery pick in the NBA.
That was a pro move.
20-16 now. Illinois at their biggest lead of the game.
I think Indiana's got to take the outside shot. Greg Graham, a good three-point shooter, would be the one to put it up.
And now Indiana's standing around a little more than before. Anderson tries one. You wonder if the pushing off on that ankle is going to affect that shot. Let's look at Kendall Gill's move down the floor, Joe.
This is just sensational. He takes that ball so quickly behind his back to elude Meeks right there to set up the drive and get the basket.
And he finishes it. Not only did he make a great move in the open court, but he finished the play.
He's got great hands. He's got quick hands. He's got good live legs. They're tremendous asset for any athlete.
And he's a great kid. Very, very articulate. In it comes to Marcus Liberty, and that will be off of Illinois. Coming up at half, Corey McPherrin with Purdue. Michigan State highlights. If you just joined us, Michigan State winning the Big Ten. And then the Foot Locker Slam Fest, second semifinal. 2 Philadelphia Eagles, Chris Carter and Keith Jackson going against each other.
Bobby Knight talking to his point guard, Jamal Meeks, and to Greg Graham right here, number 20 with the ball. Kaufman is really shading Greg Graham.
Boy, that was a move inside by Anderson. Bad ankle and all. Got it rejected. It's off of Illinois. I don't see the same ability right now for Indiana to attack that zone. It looks like Bardo was shaken up. He is holding his back. Bardo trying to walk it off. We'll be back to check his status. 4-point lead right now for the Fighting Illini.
So your little brother's joining us, huh?
He's not so little anymore.
All right, now let's move it!
He's what, 19?
Weight setting, 540, F14.
Jeff's landing planes?
4-gear lens set.
No. $40 million jets.
Today's Navy. High-tech training that takes you only one way. Full speed ahead.
Primary's off.
Good job, guys.
You and the Navy.
Jeff?
See? He's not so little anymore.
Full speed ahead.
Express mail from your post office has a whole fleet of 727.
We deliver, we deliver.
A guaranteed morning delivery.
We deliver, we deliver.
And an overnight price of just $8.75.
We deliver, we deliver.
Speed, convenience, price. It's a package only we can deliver. Express mail from your postal service.
We deliver for you.
Now, for every time life turns up the heat,
I told you we wouldn't know anybody.
a new kind of antiperspirant, Degree.
Total strangers.
I see that.
New Degree is body heat activated. Every time your body heat rises, Degree kicks in with extra protection. Precisely when you need it most, Degree has you covered.
It's about time.
New Degree protects you most when you need it most.
ABC's College Basketball. Brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Well, they've taken Bardo out, and here's the reason right here. An outstanding defensive player. He likes to block shots, and he gets an outstanding block right there, but he takes a bad fall on the right hip, and here he is on the bench, and he's definitely in pain.
Boy, that was a tough fall. So he's out of there now. Bowman comes in. Also for Indiana, this Pat Graham, number 33, has come back into the ball game. They need him for that outside shooting against the zone, but now they're jumping into a man-to-man.
Illinois back man-to-man right now with a smaller lineup.
Here's Anderson, 1 of 3 from the field thus far, playing with that gimpy right ankle.
I tell you, Illinois is switching every move out here. They're almost in a matchup.
Playing the tough defense. 10 seconds on the shot clock now. 7 seconds. And Anderson will pop one. He had a good shot. Didn't go, and it's off of Indiana's Mark Robinson. So a lot of moving around, and they still don't get any points.
They got the good shot. Here's Bardo.
He's in pain.
facing the towel right here.
Yeah, he may go in and get some heat, or at least get some relief from that injury. 2016. We've been sitting on 2016 for quite some time. Kaufman foul away. Oh, nice shot off the glass. He started the first 16 games for Illinois. Then they went to P.J. Bowman.
He's really been playing well of late. He's only a sophomore, good, big, strong forward, and can shoot the ball from the outside.
6-point lead now for Illinois. Indiana just is not right now sure what they want to do. Here's Mark Robinson. Doesn't get it. Jones with the rebound. Bob Knight may have to make some changes. Rodney Jones from outside. That's a little far for his range, and stripped by Gill, and Gill gets the points, and he's fouled. What a play by Kendall Gill.
Quick hands by Kendall Gill. He saw the exposed ball right there and went for it. Jones takes a shot that's not really in his range. But you'll see Gill right here as he brings that ball down. Flick it out with his right hand, go get it. Quickness, alertness, ability to concentrate.
Jones comes out after taking that long-distance shot. Gill now at the line. Gill with 11 points. That foul, by the way, on Greg Graham was his third, so he's picked him up after not even starting this game in a hurry. Here he is with the basketball.
Lou Henson talked very calmly to Jones when he came over on the bench.
There's Jamal Meeks. That breaks a long drought for this Indiana team. 24-18. Bowman in trouble. Pat Graham, a breakaway. Coming behind is Petty, but he will not impede him. And all of a sudden now they climbed within 4.
Bowman got in the air with no place to pass the ball. Lou Henson didn't like that move at all.
And the crowd is back in the game. A little burst here by Indiana as we come down the last minute and a half of the first half. Kaufman, tough shot. Follows his own. Blocked by Anderson. Look at Anderson hustle, and he's fouled by Kaufman.
Just good sound defense right there. He just couldn't get a shot off right there. Greg Graham on the first block, and then Eric Anderson on the second block.
And Graham with 3 fouls went after him anyway. They get Greg Graham out of there, and Chris Reynolds comes back in. But I think the thing that impresses me is how Eric Anderson has forgotten about his ankle. You saw him a moment ago chase that ball down.
There's Bob Knight, Ron Fellick.
Anderson makes it a 3-point game.
The crowd brought out that adrenaline right then. The Indiana players, after they scored that layup by Meeks, they went down the floor and backed it up with good defense.
I tell you what, Eric Anderson doesn't even know he has that air cast on. He's forgotten about it. It's a 2-point game.
I wish they'd had those air casts when I was coaching, Gary. I might have won a couple more games.
You always want to win more. You're like any other coach. Don't get greedy, Joe B. Gill gets it inside, and a reach over by Robinson. Mark Robinson reaches over the back, commits his first foul.
Now Robinson is a good, smart senior, and he knows better than to reach over in that situation.
Robinson has started 5 games for Bob Knight. Once high jump, 7'1". Shows you his leaping ability. At the line now is Liberty. He's hit all 4 of his free throws for his 4 points.
I think it's benevolent of Bob to give him this playing time his senior year, and he certainly has been a great contributor for the Indiana program. Fine young man.
Jeff Oliphant is the other senior. Only 2 seniors on this Indiana team. They are young, but playing with some gritty determination here today, trailing by 4. Andy Petty jumping out on Eric Anderson. Graham nicely to the basket. He has 7 points.
He makes moves that you just don't expect a freshman to make. Good control, used his body well to protect the ball on the dribble.
He's played so smart for Indiana the last 5 games, averaging 17 points. 2-point lead now for Illinois. No shot clock with 27 seconds left in the half. Reach in by Reynolds. Gill tries to steal it back. And he's got it. Up it comes to Liberty. Big move. Bodies everywhere, but no foul. There's a steal by Bowman with 7 seconds left. 4-point lead for Illinois. Kaufman out to Gill. A blocking foul on Chris Reynolds, and Bob Knight is throwing a tantrum on the near side.
Here's Knight. Bobby Knight didn't like that call at all.
Oh. He is hot. Kaufman hits a free throw. Boy, what a big swing. They come up looking like Indiana's going to finish strong, and then Illinois now have a chance to take maybe a 6-point lead into the dressing room. And Bob is still working Ted Hillary, who called that foul. 3 seconds left in the half.
Kaufman right at 80% free throw shooter.
Graham trying to get as much out of the pass he can. Robinson to Chris Reynolds with 1 second, but blocked by Gill. Bob Knight is out in center court with Tom Rucker. Tom Rucker discussing it with him. And Bob telling him what he thinks thus far. His team down by 6. Will return with ABC's college basketball after this message. And a word from our ABC station, who had that little flare-up. We'll see how his team responds. I'd like to have been in that locker room and heard what went on there.
Well, there's already been a lot of pressure in this ball game, and good defense out of both clubs.
Looks like he has his watch back, or he got a new one. I don't think that other one will ever tick again.
I imagine he has plenty of them, Gary.
Maybe a few NCAA championship watches, huh? 3 of them anyway. 30-24 as we begin the second half. One of the stories has to be Chaney's shooting in the first half. He was 2 of 8. He's in foul trouble, too, with 3, as is Greg Graham.
Bobby will probably get a good endorsement contract if that watch is still running.
And it goes to Bardo, and he gets a roll. Now, Bardo in the first half was 2 of 5 from the field. Now has 7 points for the game.
Hey, Bardo is just not moving well at all, Gary. He is really crippling that back down the court.
Yeah, I noticed that. He is very, very gimpy with that back. He hit the floor very hard in the waning minutes of the first half on a block. Jamal Meeks kicks it out to Chaney. Chaney's got to get the hot hand for Indiana. And he's going to try it right here. And he's now 2 of 9. Anderson starting the second half. Can't get it to follow. That may be where his ankle would bother him as much as anything, is trying to jump back up.
Well, you need to be able to quick it up in that situation.
There's Meeks committing the foul on Bardo. And Meeks hits the deck.
Anderson really does a good job getting the here's the foul right here. No question about it. Meeks reaching in to get a hand on the ball, but he got more arm than he got ball. Anderson got good position down there on the offensive board, and I think that's a real credit to him with that ankle to really be hustling in there after that rebound.
Tim Garl, the trainer, was saying he didn't know how well he could go back up with that ankle.
Well, and moving laterally is so tough when you've got a bad ankle like that. He's got a big brace on it. It's almost like a double splint up each side of his leg, and then it's inflated with air to make it extra tight and snug around that joint.
So now a 10-point lead for Illinois, and Indiana looking for their first points of the second half. We've played a minute. Chaney trying to take it inside, dumps it out, almost threw it away. Good retrieve that time by Anderson.
Right, great help by P.J. Bowman right then as he came all the way across to cover the loose man.
Intended for Chaney, broken up momentarily. Chaney recovers. Nice second effort. Gill trying to reach in for the steal, and Chaney now with 6 points.
Good quick step.
(34-26) with 18:30 left in the game. Bardo from three-point land. And Bardo grimacing as he returns defensively the other end. He's in pain, but it didn't affect that shot.
Well, he missed his only 2 attempts from three-point range in the first half, but he buried that one.
12 points now for Bardo. Indiana slow starting here in the second half. They got off to a good start in this game, which has plagued them most of the year, being a slow starting first half team. Here's Meeks trying to take over everything. He's been the heart and soul of this team. He's really given them some new vitality. Nover, and a reach-in foul against Marcus Liberty. Look at Bardo. We're going to go back and show you on tape the kind of pain he is in.
Personal foul, Illinois.
Well, you can almost read it in his face right there. It's difficult for him to run, sprint out. Maybe he'll loosen up as he gets more.
You know you got to be in pain to hit a three-pointer and still grimace like that. Bardo has 7 points in this second half to Indiana's 2. Meeks from outside. Got it. They'll have to respect him. He can hit that shot very effectively.
He was wide open against that 2-3 zone. No one came and took him at the top of the key right there, and that's a breakdown to those guards.
Gill taking Meeks inside with that explosive step that he has. Is he smooth? Oh, is he smooth?
He cut his dribble off on that baseline when he saw the defense and just exploded for the shot.
Gill with 13 points, 39-28. A little pressure in the backcourt that time. Almost got Indiana in trouble. Pat Graham, he needs to heat up. He had the shot. Marcus Liberty with the rebound. And Liberty pulls up with one. Cheney tries to get the rebound. Saved by Meeks. Here comes Jamal. Love to watch this guy play. He just kind of lights up the gym. Anderson hits it. So Meeks now kind of the catalyst for this ball club. Trying to get him started.
Illinois had no advantage on their fast break that last time down.
And
probably should have pulled it off.
And the crowd starting to get back in it. 9-point lead for Illinois. Bowman set a pick for him very effectively. Anderson with position and Small has committed his 3rd personal foul. Let's look at some other scores. Big day this final day of the regular season. And Georgia Tech, well, Terry Holland. What a surprise they've been in that ACC tournament, losing there. Connecticut, Syracuse. Some people talking like Connecticut could win everything. They played so well this year in the East Conference.
Jim Calhoun's done a great job. They've really come on here through the season and in a tough conference, Gary.
Yes, it is. 39-30, 9-point lead now for Illinois. Chris Reynolds and Meeks now in the backcourt. Cheney, Nover, and Anderson for Bob Knight's team. Cheney ducks in on Gill. Oh, what a nice move. This is a major league move by a freshman, Cheney. Explosive.
I really think Gill made a mistake by going out high on him and not protecting that baseline. Cheney loves to drive that baseline.
Boy, that may get his shooting touch back. Substitutions now. Cheney with 8 points as Jones comes into the ball game, as does Poplin for the Fighting Illini. Bardo lost the handle, but comes up with it. And Meeks trying to draw the foul. Bardo follow inside. The Illini pounding the boards, and Tom Rucker has stopped play, indicating a foul. It could be 3 different people who were banging the boards.
Bardo had a lot to say about that call as he went back down the floor.
It was Bardo who committed the foul, his 2nd of the game. Bardo in disbelief. Indiana making a mini run now at the Fighting Illini with 15:52 left. George Hallis, what impact he had on the National Football League and the Chicago Bears. Right now, it's a 1-point lead for Illinois. In the ball game is Rodney Jones backing in against Anderson, and Jones able to get it to go. His first 2 of the game.
He waited till the defense cleared out and then banked that one in.
Eric Anderson really bringing Indiana back. He has 6 this half. 6 of Indiana's 10 points.
Illinois came back with a smaller lineup after that timeout, back into man-to-man defense.
Uh-oh, Anderson, you wonder if that ankle gave way a little there. It goes off of Nover. He's up. Is he okay? He looks like he's not in any pain, but certainly lost some footing, and I would imagine that air cast has to affect it.
I'm not sure. It looked like he slipped on the other foot. We'll take a look at it right here. It was his right foot that gave way right there.
Well, he's okay. He doesn't seem to be in any pain. And inside, Ted Hillary indicates that Anderson was shoving. He commits the foul on Rodney Jones.
I just wonder why my trainer, Walt McCombs, didn't tell me about those air splints.
You just quit coaching too soon.
Yeah, I sure did.
Look at this thus far. Field goal percentage is so different in some ways, and yet really not that much different either. Now, as you look at it, is Indiana starting to pick it up a little bit after shooting only 36% in the first half. 41-38 in favor of the Illini. 13 minutes to go in the game. Liberty out to Bowman. Bowman from the corner. He likes that spot, and it's good for three.
The smaller Bowman put that one over the bigger Cheney.
5 points for Philip James Bowman. Meeks trying to use the pick by Anderson. Takes it in, and Bowman has committed the foul. Meeks and Bowman going eyeball to eyeball there. Well, here are some of the teams already in the 64-team field. They'll be announced at 6:30 Eastern Time. Northern Iowa, that's Eldon Miller's team.
And there's Kermit Davis.
And we now have a technical on Bob Knight. I believe it was his verbal abuse of the official, and so he's got a tee on him. Wait a minute now. Now Meeks shooting the free throw. This will be for the foul on the drive. Then they'll shoot the technical. So Jamal hits the first. Bob still jawing away at Tom Rucker, and Joby Wright is trying to hold him back.
Bobby Knight showing how he was using his elbow.
I tell you, he may get another one here if he's not careful.
He got Joby up to demonstrate on him how the Illinois player was using his elbow.
I tell you, Rucker is thinking about giving him another tee. So Meeks hits the 2 free throws, and now the technical shots for Kendall Gill. He'll have 2, and Illinois will get the ball out of bounds. Gill 0 for 1 from the line thus far. Now with 14 points. He needed 22 coming in this game to be the Big Ten scoring champ. I bet Joby Wright hasn't held Coach Knight's belt like that very often. Huh?
Look, Knight was catching him with elbows right and left. It was a good demonstration. Very graphic.
Very graphic. Very demonstrative. 6-point game now as both teams exchanging free throws, but now Illinois at the technical getting it out of bounds. Bowman into Liberty. Nover setting up defensively, and Ted Hillary now indicating Nover commits the foul. Nover, much stronger this year, a redshirt freshman out of Chesterton, Indiana. He's really come on. He's played so much better and given him some size, some physical ability inside.
Well, he's a believer in weightlifting. He put on 10 good pounds over the summer.
6-point lead for the Illini. Gill, nice spin move, blocked that time by Cheney. Cheney playing with 3 fouls, still pull it away. Here's Meeks. Anderson tries to follow, mistimed his jump, but Reynolds has got it anyway. Out it comes to Cheney. A little over 12 minutes left in the game. The final Big Ten game in the regular season. Everything else been decided. Michigan State winning today. There's that shuffle move, the travel call on Nover. That's been called so often on Indiana, and the Hoosiers worked on it extensively in practice yesterday.
Well, teams getting ready for the NCAA. Look out for that call. They better spend a little time one-on-one with your players to cut out that shuffle.
Speaking of that, do you think 7 teams for the Big Ten should go?
I definitely do, Gary. It's the toughest conference in the country this year. Ohio State and Indiana have beaten some good ball play.
There's Bowman from 3, and PJ, as we mentioned, has really been in a shooting slump, but he's heated up today. He has 8 points. It's a 9-point lead now for Illinois. Nover trying to jockey for position inside on Liberty. They're going to let him take that shot. They didn't want to. Cheney in that first game had 18 points against Illinois. But he's not shooting well today. He has 8. Chris Reynolds ducking inside, has to back it out.
Indiana very patient.
3-pointer.
Indiana showed great patience right there in working the ball until they got the good open shot. Got it from the man they wanted to take it.
Cheney jumps out on Bardo defensively, 49-43 in favor of Illinois. The cutter is Liberty. He's been very quiet in this game. Then it goes to Marcus. Inside move, and he just went right by Eric Anderson. Now has 10 points. In that first half, he was 6 of 6 from the free throw line.
Lack of quickness, lack of ability to push off of that bad ankle. You got the baseline.
Cheney takes it inside, and he is fouled by Bardo. You don't think Henson's not in this game as well? Watch this. Pleading your cause is what that is called. He thought that was a travel call a moment ago when Cheney buried that three-pointer. What he thought is not what happened. 51-43, that last foul. The third on Bardo. Cheney from outside. That's a 2. 51-45. Cheney with 13, and now he's hit 2 in a row. Henson wants him to rotate around now, get into their offense with 10 minutes left in the game. And Jones called for backing into Eric Anderson. A foul on Rodney Jones, his third.
Take a look right here, and here's the contact going on offensively and defensively between these two centers.
I don't know how you determine who's shoving who.
Referee makes a decision. He's got to clean it up.
I wonder if Bob Knight didn't precipitate that call with that demonstration earlier. He and Joby Wright on the sideline. You got to wonder if that doesn't put that thought in the back of the official's head. And there's a foul on Gill, reaching around on Reynolds, his second personal foul. I tell you what, Bob Knight can really intimidate people. Broadcasters, players, and officials certainly have to come into that category, and he may have gotten that call down here on just what he did earlier.
Well, don't doubt it. That's what he was complaining about.
9:50 left in the game as Andy Kaufman will come in. 51-45 in favor of Illinois as Bardo will check out. He has 3 fouls, and Bardo is still gimpy as he goes to the bench with that back, the injury he sustained in the first half.
Well, he's really going to be gimpy tomorrow, Gary.
Chris Reynolds, a terrible free throw shooter, gets one. You were studying Chris Reynolds yesterday at the line. He shoots only 52%. What is it? What's he do wrong?
He just seems like he's not compacted his shot. He just seems a little loose, especially on his release with his hands. His wrist is just kind of not real definite on his release.
I don't think he finishes his shot, but what do I know about it? He was 2 of 2 before that. Rebound by Reynolds. He can rebound, I'll tell you that. His 4th rebound of the game. 51-46 Illinois. 9.5 minutes to go. Cheney wanted the ball. They didn't see him, and he jumped up in disappointment. He wants it right now. He's hit his last 2. Meeks will take Bowman inside. Here's Cheney. He wants to shoot it. Rebound by Jones. Cheney was loading up for that one a long time before he got the ball.
Lou Henson was calling for another travel.
And Lou is working Ted Hillary on the near sideline. Kaufman looks to the cutter, Gill. Gill is open, and as he goes inside, he's fouled by Nover. That's his 4th personal foul. You know, a moment ago, Bob Knight almost reached into the field of play. Watch this.
His 4th personal.
I think he really hustled to get out of the way right there. He was crowding that sideline a little bit.
I didn't know he could still move that well, did you?
He looked like a matador.
So Nover with his 4th personal now. Gill with 2 free throws coming. Kendall Gill was 16 again. He needs 22 to win the Big Ten scoring championship. The battle came down between Ramil Robinson and then Willie Burton got 31 for Minnesota yesterday. So he had to score 22 to overhaul him.
He's very likely to get him because the last of the game when Illinois really goes to him when he takes charge.
53-46, 8:50 left in the game. Very emotional battle, but you expect that when you come into Bob Knight's place.
I tell you, Jones and Anderson haven't changed their style of play much.
Jamal Meeks had the screen, the pick set up well, but couldn't get the shot to go. Here's Bowman. And that's going to be a charge on Bowman. Are they going to give him the basket? And so it's a charge on Bowman.
Well, Bowman thought he had his pass. And he has got the angle right here.
Wow.
The verticality rule takes over right there, Jerry.
No baskets, so the count stays 53-46. And away from the ball, we have a foul, a hooking foul.
Well, the screens are really getting vicious in here. And Jones is just trying to fight over this pick right here. You'll see him get the arm through. Gets called for bumping Anderson as he went around that screen.
And that is the 4th foul on Jones, so he comes out of the ball game, and Small comes in, and Jones is upset.
Well, he feels like he got caught in a moving screen right there, and there is no defense for a moving screen.
You mean Indiana has moving screens?
I didn't say that, Gary. I said Jones said that, fella.
Anderson, that has always been something discussed around the Big Ten, is how Indiana won't give you room to move. They'll set right behind you, and you'll bounce into them, or they move them.
Well, it's tough to defense.
Eric Anderson, what a courageous performance by this sophomore, hitting both free throws, coming back on that severe injury. He has 12 points for the afternoon. There's been a lot of guys who have come back. Remember Willis Reed for the Knicks in the NBA, guys who come back with that mental toughness to play with our injury. Here's Small, who just checked inside, and he gets his first 2 of the game.
Great pass and penetration by Kaufman to set that basket up. It was an easy layup. The play was Kaufman on the drive.
7:45 left in the game. Anderson has stripped by Bowman. It'll be off of Illinois.
Illinois gets caught every once in a while in a cross like that with a little man guarding a bigger man.
55-48. We'll return with ABC's college basketball after this message and a word from our ABC station. Points now for Eric Anderson.
Boy, Anderson got a good screen right there and popped out for that jumper. Well executed play.
5-point game now. The Illini with the lead. Anderson has been a big story in this game with his 14 points. Not starting due to the ankle injury, but coming in and playing like he had never been hurt. There's Bardo tracking it down. Anderson has 10 of those points in the second half. Pushing foul on Chris Reynolds. Coming up next, we'll go to Orlando for the final of the SEC championship. Indiana goes to sleep. And all of a sudden, Gill on the inbound scores, and he's fouled by Jamal Meeks. They really caught him napping there. 7-point lead now after that, and a chance for a 3-point play for Kendall Gill.
Indiana hasn't taken many naps today. They have really played alert, and they've been tough on that defensive board.
Boy, Bob's upset too, as Gill does not get the 3-point play. He has 19 points. Again, he needs 22 to become the Big Ten scoring champion. Reynolds ducks in. Oh, he missed a fine move to the basket, a hell ball, and it will go to Indiana. Lawson keeping it alive inside, and so now Chaney will inbounds. 6:37 left to go. What a nice move that was by Reynolds. Shows his quickness.
Well, again, it's that penetration to the basket by Indiana. They're really looking for the drive. Every player that catches the ball puts it on the floor and looks for the drive.
One thing about Lawson, a big guy, he can shoot from outside. There's Chaney called for traveling again. Tom Rucker whistles him down, but with Lawson in there, they have another guy who can shoot outside. For a big man, he is very adept at hitting that 15-footer.
Well, I would say everyone but Reynolds would probably have a free hand to put it up for Indiana right now. And of course, Bowman and Bardo and Gill will put it up for Illinois.
And there's a charge as Chaney is decked. Bowman picking up the foul.
Well, Bowman was thinking all pass off on that drive and took his eye off the defense, made that charge.
Third foul on PJ at the 6:06 mark. Let's look at that inbounds a while ago, the easy 2 that Gill got.
Well, it was just a quick in by Illinois here. It just caught them napping. The defense hadn't even got set up, and Meeks was the one that hadn't adjusted. He was talking to a teammate as the ball was being handed to the throw-in man.
Chaney with the free throw now has 14 points. He's 1 of 1 from the stripe. Gets both of them. It's a 5-point game. 6:06 left to go. Illinois, 20th ranked with a 20-7 record, trying to win their 5th straight over Indiana. 6 left. You can see the foul difficulty. Both teams have a player each with 4, and look at that, 3 with 3 each on each team.
Well, you know what it does to a player to pick up that 4th. It makes him inhibited defensively, and that could be a big factor in the rest of this game.
Nover's not in there with 4. Gill tries one from outside. Anderson with a rebound. Here comes Jamal Meeks. Indiana down by 5. Chaney playing with such confidence in the second half. Every time he spots up with the ball, he wants to put it up. With 15 points in the game. Here he goes inside. And he changed his shot and draws the foul. He's upset because I think he could have taken it to the hole, probably gotten the slam and gotten the foul. And he changed his shot at the last instant. Boy, I love to watch this guy play.
It was interesting defense right there by Illinois because Bowman was guarding him at first and then let him go, and he wound up on the baseline with no one really on him. Good weak side help, but they couldn't help but foul him as Chaney gets up so well on these layups.
Small committed his 4th foul on that, by the way.
Chaney has the ability to hang in the air and hold his shot, draw the foul.
It's a 3-point game.
Slow tempo offensively here as they're trying to isolate Liberty.
Liberty hasn't done all that much. Draws the foul. It's either Lawson or Anderson. They're both looking at each other as they were pushing off on that particular situation.
It'll be on Lawson.
It'll be on Lawson. That's his first.
Illinois did a good job of isolating Liberty then, keeping the defense help away from him so he could put the dribble down, move into the middle.
Both teams now with 17 fouls. Next Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports goes to the Iditarod Trail Sled Major Prep for 3-year-olds, a Florida Derby. Liberty at the line. You know, Liberty has really had a quiet game, Joe. He's 11 points, 7 of those from the line.
Well, Illinois come back with their big lineup as Kaufman came in for Bowman right then. Look for them to be back in their zone. They are set up in their 2-1-2 zone.
Small is in there. He's playing with 4 fouls. He's in the middle of that zone that Joe's talking about.
Well, Anderson and Chaney are both zone busters from the outside.
Anderson's been hitting so well from that 45-degree angle. Meeks, 3-point shot by Meeks. It's a 2-point game.
You know, that's so interesting, Gary. Meeks has only put up 7 3-pointers coming into this game, and he hasn't been shy all today about putting it up.
Gill trying to move inside on Chaney to get that 4th foul on him. Liberty tries to follow. The follow is in.
Small coming in for that tip. Really timed his jump well.
Small and Liberty there. They'll give it to Small. Back to a 4-point lead now for Illinois. Chaney working, trying to get the open spot. Off to Anderson. Oh, he traveled with it. He was going to shoot it, and they said he left his foot off the floor. Bob Knight doesn't agree. Anderson didn't think he traveled either.
Well, he had to come off of the floor before it was a travel, and he makes his fake right here. See if that foot comes off, and it did not.
No, it did not. That left foot was down. They missed that one. When you got a big guy at 6'9" with that kind of a body fake, I guess your inclination is to think he couldn't possibly keep that foot down, but he did. 4-point lead for Illinois. Liberty backing in. 3:45 left in the game. Bardo, and they had a miss. They didn't switch. Somehow, as the charge now will go against Bardo. Bardo called for the charge, and that's his 4th foul. What happened on this defensive situation? They didn't switch over. Let's look at it.
Bardo beat his man Chaney, went to the basket, and it was Meeks that came in to take the charge. No, it wasn't Meeks. I can't get his number right there, Gary.
Reynolds. But what happened was Chaney was just left flat-footed. He went by him so quickly. But Bardo picking up the foul is 4th. It's still 61-57. The basket, of course, waved off.
Lou Henson was calling for the block on that last play.
Reynolds ducks in, and he's fouled by Kendall Gill. Both teams are over the limit, so we'll be shooting free throws.
Indiana just relentless in putting that ball down and driving to the basket.
Reynolds at the line. That was the third foul on Gill, and here's a guy who's been struggling all year long at the line, even though he hit his first two today, and he hits that one. And I guess that's a mark of a competitor when you're not shooting well, but when you really got to have them, you get them.
You know, the rule of verticality, Gary, that's one of the toughest for the officials to handle, and I'm not sure they're doing a good job with it. It's so difficult to anticipate, to take a look at that player that sets up defensively.
Look at this crowd.
All right, this gets the Indiana adrenaline flowing when that crowd gets fired up. They're going to give them a boost right here. They're only down by 2.
3:08 left to go. Bardo trying to back in. He's got a mismatch. He's so much bigger. Reynolds can't stay with him. And Bardo at 6'6" shoots it over him.
Well, that's the advantage that Illinois has, and they took advantage of it right there.
Bardo bumps it back up to a 4-point lead. Bardo with 16. Lawson had the shot. Bardo with the rebound. Bardo seems to be moving a little bit better now after having that back injury. Bowman from the corner. And look at Cheney get out. And Lawson's got a piece of it. And the hell ball this time will go to Illinois. Did you see Cheney get up on that defensive board? He skied above everybody. Could not come down with it. Illinois got it on alternating held possessions.
So he just gave a great effort.
2:30 left, 4-point lead now for Illinois. Liberty backing in on Lawson. In trouble, gets it to Small, and Lawson's got a good defense by Chris Lawson.
There's one too many passes right there.
2:15 left in the game.
Illinois has to be careful not to jam the ball in too tight and try to make those passes. They need to spread the floor a little more, get a little more room, and that's exactly what Indiana's doing right now. They're spreading it out, and they're going to look for that drive. No one does it like Cheney.
There it is to Cheney on a beautiful pass for Meeks. A 2-point game.
They spread the floor. He took advantage of the defensive overplay and went back door.
Timeout, Illinois. Cheney with 19. Indiana down by 2. You see the time remaining. Kind of an appropriate way to end the regular season of play in the Big Ten. It's been a tough, gritty year in this conference. Thank you, Keith. We have another timeout, back-to-back timeouts. Indiana calling one after Illinois had. There's our score, and you see the fouls to give, both of them over the limit. 2 timeouts left for the Fighting Illini, 3 for Indiana. The possession arrow now favoring Indiana, as we have 1:43 left in the game, and Illinois leading by 2. Let's go to that last play before the last timeout.
Well, it was Cheney on the back door, and an excellent pass. Cheney just beat his man who was trying to overplay the passing lane, got to back door. He extends so well on these layups.
Boy, the foul difficulty, it's the severe proportions as you look at this game. We could have guys running out in a hurry and running out of eligibility. We're going to look at it here in just a moment. There it is. Jones, Bardo, and Small with 4, and Nover with 4. So Illinois could lose some people.
Well, right now, nobody's going to worry about those fouls. What you're going to see right now is a lot of patience offensively by both teams. I thought Indiana did a great job spreading the floor. Illinois has got to do that on their end. It's getting the ball in the hands of the best shooter from his best spot from here on out. Indiana's they've got to really defense right now and keep Illinois from getting this basket that would put them 4 or 5 ahead. I think you'll see a good sound defense by Indiana and a strong block off on the defensive board. Indiana
comes in with Anderson, Lawson, Cheney, Reynolds, and Meeks. It's Bardo, Bowman, Small, Liberty, and Gill for Lou Henson's team. 1:35 left. Illinois by 2.
Illinois running their screens on the weak side. A double screen here for Bardo.
Lawson coming out on the floor, extending the defense against Liberty, shows his quickness.
Indiana's putting pressure on all over the court.
12 seconds on the shot clock.
Illinois very patient.
Gill against Cheney, gets the roll, and their guy who's been the money man all year long gets that, and he has 21. He's 1 point short now of being the Big Ten scoring champion.
Well,
he's called into a tie.
He's liable to get it, Gary, because that's who they're going to go to down the stretch here.
4-point lead for Illinois. 52 seconds left. Anderson out to Meeks. Meeks had an open shot.
He's really looking for Cheney.
Yeah, and Cheney from 3 does not get it. Rebound by Small. Small, the big board, gets it out to Liberty. And Liberty puts it away. Trying to draw the foul was Cheney, but there's no foul.
The referee said no call on that contact.
Anderson from 3. Doesn't get that one. Rebound cleared this time by Bardo. 22 seconds left. Bardo coast to coast. And this time it's a charge. Bardo will foul out of the ball game. And Tom Rucker indicates no basket. And a charge on Bardo.
Well, Bartow really took it to the basket right here, and Cheney was set up defensively in that lane, had both feet planted.
Boy, it wasn't
Bartow
a smart play, Joe, because you've got a lead of 6. Pull it back out, kill the remaining time. Instead, Bardo fouls out. The basket is waved off. 6-point lead for the Illini. You see the time remaining, 19 seconds. We'll return for the finish.
Why?
Now that charge by Bardo still leaves the door open for this Indiana team. Kendall Gill still a point short from being the Big Ten scoring leader. If he gets one more, he'll move into the leadership. He's tied now with Willie Burton of Minnesota. Indiana's got to hurry. 3 by Cheney. And trying to follow is Nover, and it's off of Nover.
Well, that's a game loser right there, Gary. They needed that 3 in another position.